Subject: Melanie. Redacted. Admitted to. Redacted. Medical Research Isolation Facility in. Redacted, Alabama. Subject complains of chronic parasomnia, presenting as night terrors and sleep paralysis. Subject is 31 years old, has presented night terror symptoms since age 10. Sleep paralysis symptoms set in at around the same time. Subject describes the attacks as often manifesting with not being able to tell when she is woken up, inability to move, and no voice when she tries to scream. Often the subject will believe she is woken up, only to suffer an attack of some kind, and wake up again to find it had been a dream. This often repeats several times before she actually wakes up, and at that point, she cannot tell the difference between her dream and waking states. Attached excerpt from subject's sleep journal for the week leading up to her admission to her isolation facility.
Monday, March 4th, 2019. I went to bed at 10 p.m., but wasn't able to fall asleep until probably around 12:30 a.m. I woke up but couldn't read the clock. My head felt strange, but as I looked around the room I was convinced I was actually awake. A hand grabbed my mouth from behind and I was startled out of that dream. I woke on my back staring at the ceiling, unable to move. I tried to call out to my sister. My mouth felt dry and I couldn't get the words out. I heard my door open, but I couldn't move my eyes to see. I heard footsteps enter the room and move towards my closet. I struggled and was eventually able to roll my head to the side, in time to see my closet door slide shut. I heard a man laughing from behind it. I tried to call out for my sister again, but still couldn't speak. The closet door started to slide open, and I awoke again, this time sitting up in bed, drenched in sweat. Both my closet and bedroom doors were wide open, but I always closed them. I thought I could see something moving in the darkness behind both doors. It looked like the darkness itself was churning. I heard a deep voice whisper my name, and I woke up again. I screamed for my sister and she rushed in. That was 3:30 a.m. I did not fall back asleep. Tuesday, March 5th, 2019. I went to bed at 8:30 p.m., but was unable to fall asleep until probably around 10:30 p.m. I woke up with someone's hand covering my eyes. I was unable to move or speak, and I could hear her giggling. I felt small fingers start to pinch me along my face and upper body as she continued to giggle. This went on for, about 15 minutes. I felt her hand go into my mouth and I couldn't breathe. I woke up screaming for my sister, but she didn't come. I rolled out of bed to find my door wide open and all the lights in our apartment on. I peeked my head out into the hall to find my sister's door wide open as well. I walked into her room, and the lights went out as the door slammed shut behind me. I tried the knob, but it was locked. I heard breathing behind me and started to frantically pull at the door. I felt arms wrap around me, more than two, many more. My own arms were bound by them, and I was dragged to the floor, unable to move. A hot breath swept over my neck, and I woke up on the floor, tangled in my sheets. I tried to wiggle out of them, but every move I made seemed to make them tighter and tighter. Somehow a loop worked its way across my neck and kept tightening. I felt my eyes bulging as I choked, and heard the girl giggle from behind me again. I woke up screaming and my sister entered the room. It was 3 a.m. There were marks on my body where I had been pinched, and across my throat where I had been choked with a sheet. I did not fall back asleep. Wednesday, March 6th, 2019. I went to bed at 9:30 p.m. and probably fell asleep at about 10 p.m. I woke up at 7 a.m. Thursday morning without issue and went to work and had a normal day. I didn't talk to any co-workers and I didn't remember eating lunch. When I got home, I took a nap on the sofa and woke back up in my bed at 3:15 a.m. Thursday morning. It turns out I had dreamt the entire day. I fell back asleep at 4 a.m. and woke up at 7 a.m. without further incident. Thursday, March 7th, 2019. I went to bed at 11 p.m. and fell asleep almost immediately. I woke at some point in the middle of the night to my sister shaking me awake. She said I'd been screaming and woke her up, and that she was tired of dealing with my problems. I told her I was sorry and I couldn't help it, but she kept yelling at me, told me I would probably have to move out soon. I broke down into tears as she went on a long rant about how tired she was of me and all of my problems. I yelled at her to stop and she slapped me, waking me up at about 3:30 a.m. I did not fall back asleep. Friday, March 8th. I went to bed at around midnight with my boyfriend, name redacted, and I fell asleep at around 1:30 a.m. About an hour after him, I woke up at some point to see a dark male figure in the room. I was having trouble focusing and couldn't see him anymore, but I felt like there was still a presence in the room. Name redacted was still asleep next to me. I started shaking him, but he wouldn't wake up. I saw the dark figure again, then it was gone. I was screaming at name redacted, but he wasn't moving. My alarm went off, waking me up, but I felt something pressing on my waist. I pushed away out of bed and felt a presence move in front of me. All I could hear was blood rushing in my ears, and I still couldn't focus. I started throwing punches, but it grabbed my arms and pulled me in, restraining me. Eventually I heard name redacted's voice telling me it was okay. I fully woke up in his arms, with him telling me over and over that I was safe and it was okay. I told him, I know. Why are you holding me? And pushed him away. Saturday, March 9th, 2019. I'm not sure when I fell asleep, but we were camping. I woke up at some point and had to go to the restroom, so I left the tent and started to walk toward the porta potty. I walked up the trail a bit and realized it was further away than I expected. I looked back and the campsite was nowhere to be seen. It was just more trail. I kept walking, but the trail seemed to go on forever. I turned back and ran towards the camp, but I never made it there. I know I ran far enough, it just wasn't there. The path branched unexpectedly and I didn't know where to go. I heard a man breathing from somewhere in the tree line and started running. A dark figure stepped into the path in front of me, and I turned and tried to run. My legs felt heavy, and each step took a lot of effort. I was barely moving. I heard the man breathing right behind me, but I couldn't move. I saw hands start to reach around either side of my face from behind, and I woke up screaming in my room. My sister rushed in. It was 3:45. I did not fall back asleep. Sunday, March 10th, 2019. I went to bed at 11 p.m. and fell asleep at around 11:30. I woke up at some point face down, unable to move. It was hard to breathe through the pillow, but I couldn't adjust my head. I heard female giggling behind me, then started to feel pinches along my side and lower back. This went on for some time. Then I felt small hands wrap around my neck. The giggling turned into shrill laughter as I started to choke. I woke up screaming on the floor. My sister rushed in, and I had marks where I had been pinched and choked. It was 2:55. I did not fall back asleep.
Subject was admitted to the redacted medical research isolation facility the following day, Monday, March 11, 2019, at the request of a psychiatrist she had seen Thursday, March 7th. The first week of her visit consisted of psych and medical evaluations and monitored sleep. The subject was not given any medication, and was allowed to bring items from her home into her isolation room. Her evaluations showed her parasomnia symptoms continued despite the change in environment. To rule out environmental causes entirely, the subject's personal items were removed from her room and she was given simple sheets and blankets. The first night in the minimal stimulus isolation room was documented as follows. March 18, 2019, minimal stimulus isolation evaluation, day 1. 8:58 p.m. Subject enters room, begins to prepare for sleep. 9:05 p.m. Subject lays down in bed. 9:07 p.m. Nurse enters room to apply vitals monitoring probes. 9:14 p.m. Nurse finishes applying probes, starts evaluation.
Nurse, Melanie, redacted, age 31, admitted to, redacted, medical for extreme parasomnia. How are you feeling this evening, Melanie? Melanie, I'm all right. Nurse, this will be your first monitored night. Are the leads comfortable? Melanie, they're fine. Nurse, okay, good. I realize this isn't what you're used to, but try to relax and get some sleep, okay? We'll be listening if you need anything. Melanie, okay, thank you.
9:16 p.m. Nurse leaves the room. 9:16 p.m. to 11:43 p.m. Subject lays in bed trying to fall asleep. She adjusts her body frequently and appears fairly uncomfortable. 11:43 p.m. Subject vitals confirm she falls asleep. 12:32 p.m. Subject enters REM. 12:39 p.m. Light, feminine laughter is picked up on room's voice recorder. Video shows the subject smiling and appearing to giggle. Subject places her left hand over her eyes. Her vitals confirm she is still in REM. 12:43 p.m. Subject oscillates between laughter and distressed moaning. Vitals confirm she is still in REM. 12:51 p.m. Subject's right hand moves across her body and she begins to pinch herself. Subject continues to switch between laughter and distress. Vitals confirm she is still in REM. 1:04 a.m. Subject's right hand moves over her mouth. Vitals confirm she is still in REM, but becoming more stressed. Subject's chest heaves up and down, appearing to be trying to pull in air. Right hand releases mouth long enough for subject to laugh, then returns to cover her mouth. 1:05 a.m. Subject's oxygen levels begin to drop. Subject continues to release mouth to laugh, but does not breathe in while doing so. The laughs get weaker and weaker each time. 1:06 a.m. Nurses rush into the room to restrain subject. They appear to struggle to remove her hand from her mouth. 1:07 a.m. Subject sits up in bed suddenly, screaming. Vitals show she is still in REM. Nurses continue to fight to restrain her. 1:08 a.m. Isolation room voice recorder picks up the following.
Melanie. Oh God. Oh no. He's here. No. Keep him away.
1:09 a.m. Nurses continue to struggle against the subject to restrain her and keep her airway open. Her right hand continues to try to clamp down over her mouth. 1:12 a.m. Subject's eyes focus on the corner of the room and she lets out an extremely loud scream. Her body relaxes shortly after and the nurses are able to pin her back down to the bed. Vitals show she is still in REM. Subject ceases all resistance and vitals show her stress levels are falling. 1:15 a.m. Nurses make final check then leave the room. 3:12 a.m. Subject ejects herself from the bed screaming and runs. The vital probes tear away and readings are lost. She runs face first into the wall and scrambles into the corner, continuing to scream. 3:17 a.m. Nurses re-enter the room and try to restrain subject. 3:23 a.m. Subject appears to be fully awake and calming down. 3:29 a.m. Nurse reattaches vital probes, leaves room. 3:36 a.m. to 7 a.m. Subject does not return to sleep. March 19th. Melanie, redacted, report, minimal stimulus isolation results. Subject's parasomnia did not improve. Due to its severity, and the degree to which the subject's health has been affected by lack of sleep, oversight has cleared the use of an experimental dream suppression drug. It should allow the subject to achieve REM sleep without dreaming. March 20th. Melanie, redacted, report, the medication seems to have worked without issue. Subject achieved REM but did not suffer any parasomnia symptoms. She woke up at 9:38 a.m. and reported that she felt well rested. Vitals show no sign of events through the night, and her baseline stress is lower today than it has been since she arrived. We will continue with the treatment. March 31st. Melanie, redacted, report, subject has gone 11 nights without incident while on medication. The lead physician was prepping her for release and scheduled a physical. During this exam it was discovered that the subject had small sores covering most of her body. They only presented under clothing, which could explain why we're just seeing them now. They appear to be self-inflicted wounds caused by extreme pinching, but we've been monitoring her 24 hours a day since her last physical exam and can find no evidence of her doing this. The current theory is these sores are perhaps a physical allergic reaction to the medication. Subject's medication has been ceased. April 1st. Melanie, redacted, report, last night subject reverted to her previous parasomnia symptoms, however they are presenting as much more severe. At one point the subject was almost completely suspended from the bed, back arched, stomach up, only making contact with the backs of her fingers and her toes. While not strictly impossible, physically, the degree to which her back was arched and the manner in which her arms almost looked relaxed, it would have taken incredible strength and stamina to do. The subject, while healthy, has not displayed this kind of physical ability. That said, the unconscious mind has been shown in studies to be able to make the body perform extreme feats. Subject complains of muscle soreness, which tracks with the kind of usage we were seeing through the night. April 14th. Melanie, redacted, report. Subject's parasomnia symptoms have become extreme, and seem to be mixed with a previously undiagnosed schizophrenia. Within a minute of the subject's vitals reporting she has fallen asleep, her eyes open and she stands up and walks around the room. She always removes the vital probes, and mumbles incoherently. Last night she began striking the walls of the room. She cracked a safety glass panel in a concrete wall. No damage presented on the subject's hand, however. This seems to go far beyond what we've seen in the past when the unconscious mind is able to amplify strength. It has been determined that the subject should be placed back on the dream suppressant medication, and weaned off if she presents physical reactions again. April 15th. Melanie, redacted, report. Subject was placed back on medication and slept through the night without issue. A physical exam in the morning revealed no sign of an allergic reaction. May 1st. Melanie, redacted, report. Subject has been symptom-free for 2 weeks. No further allergic reactions have occurred, however. Upon inspecting the room we found what appears to be writing in an unknown language and symbols scrawled on the bottom of the subject's bed in blood. The blood was tested and verified to be from the subject, but a physical examination found no cuts on her body, despite the blood being still wet when discovered. When asked, the subject has no memory of writing them, and there is no point in her monitoring that shows her doing so. Starting tonight we will have a nurse posted in the room with the subject at all times. May 2nd, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject went into REM at approximately 10:16 p.m. Shortly after video shows her lips moving. The nurse stationed with her responds, but Melanie's voice cannot be heard on the video. Even if she was whispering, the mic should have picked up something, so evidence points to the subject being completely silent, which begs the question, what was the nurse responding to? Conversation transcript below.
Nurse. Excuse me. Melody's lips move. Nurse. Really? I can get someone to. Melody's lips move. Nurse. Well, if that's what you want. Nurse returns to reading her book, but looks up a few seconds later. Nurse. Oh no, where exactly? Melody's lips move. Nurse stands up and approaches the bed. Nurse. Under the... Okay. The nurse squats down and inspects the underside of the bed. Melody's eyes open. Nurse. Oh my. I thought we cleaned this. Melody's lips move. Nurse. Okay.
At this point the nurse stands up, walks to the door, and starts striking her forehead into it with extreme force over and over, until security stops her. Melanie's eyes close as they enter the room. The nurse is in critical condition, with multiple skull fractures and a severe concussion at best. May 5th. Melanie, redacted, report. Subject has been placed into a medically induced coma. She will be evaluated via MRI tonight. May 6th. Melanie, redacted, report. MRI came back inconclusive, but the subject has been unresponsive to attempts to wake her from her comatose state. July 21st. Melanie, redacted, report. Subject has remained in her coma despite all attempts to wake her since May 6th. Despite this, and despite video monitoring verifying she hasn't moved, the writing in her blood continues to appear under her bed. The nursing staff refuses to enter her room alone. August 2nd, Melanie, redacted, report. The writing under her bed stopped 2 days ago and hasn't recurred since. December 22nd, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject has woken up from her coma. She appears to be in good health, all things considered. She will sleep tonight with no medication. December 23rd, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject slept through the night with no issues. Physical exams have all come back clean. December 30th, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject has gone a full week with no symptoms, under no medication. January 6th, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject is scheduled to be released tomorrow. She is in good spirits and excited to get back to her life. January 7th, Melanie, redacted, report. Subject released. Follow-up call confirms she made it home safely. January 8th, Melanie, redacted, report, at 3:15 a.m. January 8, 2020, we received a call from the residence of Melanie, redacted, in, redacted, Alabama. The call consists of 15 minutes of light, feminine laughter, with no direct response to questions from our end. An hour later, Melanie was found dead in her minimal stimulus isolation room. She was never badged in, and her home is more than 3 houses from the facility. Cause of death is unknown. There are no signs of trauma on the body. The investigation is ongoing.